taken care of. Is that the right one? No, that's not the right one. Up just a little bit. Okay. Always the camera on the end. Gotta really get this thing fixed at some point. Okay, hopefully that'll work right there. All right, so stand by. We're gonna get this going live and see if this is good enough for getting things where it needs to be. And then we will be good to go, I think. But stay tuned here. Always something new cropping up at the last second. Excuse me. Pardon me. All right. Trying to get things taken care of when it comes to doing a live show on Instagram, but Instagram wouldn't let me do a live show for some odd reason. I'm not entirely too sure why, but we'll have to figure that out coming up here in just a little while. So in the meantime, everything is where it needs to be for right now. If you have any plans, again, for outdoors in the next several days, that is where we're going to see the potential for some more problems when it comes to chances of rain and thunderstorms across the area, possibility of severe weather by Friday, and also looking again at the potential for maybe some severe weather thrown in there, as well as flash flooding at some point in time. So this is where we see the worst potential for the next couple of days. Again, apologies, should have gotten that taken care of beforehand. It's amazing what you can get done in just a few minutes. Apparently, I need to have more followers on Instagram, and I don't. So we'll see if we can get that handled in the next few days or so. Next possibility of anything involving dry, cooler weather does not look like it's going to be happening anytime soon. Warm and muggy for the next several days. We'll talk about that coming up here. And no problems again for major severe weather, but once again we'll talk about that. Stand by for Facebook joining us in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, it is Wednesday night. So let me get the cameras a little bit better aligned here. There we go. All right, thanks a lot to everybody for joining us. Wednesday night, peak of the week, no problems for tonight. It's very warm, it's very muggy. Nothing you haven't heard before, and we'll continue to see some very dry conditions, maybe somewhere out there in the future, but not for the next several days. If you haven't heard yet, we've got the potential of some more flash flooding back in the mix, and we've got the potential for some severe weather. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Apologies for the delay. I was trying to get started on Instagram, but apparently Instagram is acting funny tonight, so I wasn't able to go live on there. So for the rest of the evening, should be, again, decently quiet. Few showers out there and a couple of rumbles of thunder just west of Chattanooga. Might see some of those on the camera screens coming up here in just a little bit. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. There will be a short pause while some people in the audience say, who cares? This is Weather Overtime. This is our online video weather blog enabling you, our viewers from the Tennessee River Valley and beyond, to ask questions about what's going on with the forecast. We'll bring you an update as to what's happening for the next several days coming up here in just a little bit. But for right now, let's go ahead and get started and show you more about the forecast into overnight. Numbers should be, again, mild with temperatures back into the lower 70s. We're not getting much of anything in the way of much cooler weather than this for the next several days. So less, if anything, in the way of cool, crisp, calm conditions coming up. More tropical than anything else, but at least we don't have the major amounts of heat that we were dealing with for the last several days as we went from June into July. About as typically July as you can possibly get here, with numbers within a degree or two of where they should be. Record high that hasn't been broken since 1977. And when your record low temperature is only 53, you know you're in the midst of summertime. No rainfall today, approaching an inch behind for July and 7.5 inches behind on rain. Again, we were here not too long ago The rain did a good job of helping us out a little bit as we went again into the last couple of months, but we need at this time over about 7 and almost 3/4 inches just to catch up to normal for this time of the year. That would be quite nice to have, but it's not going to be happening anytime soon. Thanks a lot to News 12 viewer David Stanley from Dalton for a patriotic view of the backyard pool. That's on the 4th of July there. Thank you very much, Mr. Stanley, for sending in our HEP heating weather window picture of the day. If you've got pictures, email them to us, drop them to social media in the comments section, or again, go to Weather Window headquarters at our website, WDEF.com/photos. Turn your pictures in there. You can see a little bit more about what everybody else has been dropping off. As you can see, all those pictures available at the website. And again, thanks to HEP Heating for being our sponsor. Speaking of which, thanks to Epikos Comics, Cards, and Games for being our sponsor here on Weather Overtime. Check them out at epikosccg.com. Hot again tomorrow. Temperatures right about where they should be in the high 80s to lower 90s. And looking at plenty of humidity and the potential of more showers and thunderstorms. Could be some patchy fog overnight. That also could slow some things down. Downtown, not much going on at this time. The 1% List Scenic City camera, Old Glory up on top of the EPB building. Looking back to the northeast. Nothing showing up on the display for right now with rainfall on the camera lens at least. 82 currently, down a few degrees from where we were a couple of hours ago. Dew point temperature is still in the high 60s. That's pretty uncomfortable. Getting into the 70s, that is pretty well oppressive, and the wind's not doing anything but stirring around the humidity, so there's really not much help of getting anything really cooler out there. Not seeing a big problem with allergy currents. We do have, again, mold spores and grass pollen at the moderate level, tree and weed pollen at the lower level. So numbers, again, quite a lot better than what they probably will be coming up on the end of pollen and ragweed season. That's my particular problem right there. Air quality earlier back in the lower yellow or moderate category. Greatest pollutants, we've got particle pollution, the smaller 2.5 micron particle pollution. That is smoke, soot, and exhaust. Larger particle pollution, 10 microns, that's dust, soil particles, and pollen. The only other major amount of pollutants, so to speak, is ozone gas. That was a low green or good 28, so not too terrible where the pollutants are concerned. And at this time of the year with more stagnant atmosphere, it can get a lot more difficult there to get some clearer skies out there. We've got a couple of things going on here. Number one is these showers with occasional thunderstorms showing up right around Sequatchie and eastern Marion counties, Tennessee, heading now just barely into west central Hamilton County, back to the western part of Hamilton County, west of Highway 27, and we could see the possibility of some more areas of thunderstorms overnight. Shouldn't be all that much, but I would not be surprised to hear a rumble of thunder, to get some gusty winds, and the occasional bit of a downpour taking place out there. North Meigs, McMinn, and Monroe counties, showers regenerating around the northern parts of the viewing area here on either side of I-75. Southern Monroe County, Tennessee, some scattered showers moving into western North Carolina, moving basically east-northeast. A few speckles of showers over parts of northern Georgia. Nothing substantial, and mostly back over toward the Blue Ridge is where we're seeing the best possibility of rainfall here. Northeastern Alabama, your showers are basically almost done for making their way into around the Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama tri-state line area and moving to the east. I-24, seeing some showers back around Jasper, South Pittsburgh, back to areas west of Chattanooga. Again, we're not seeing anything in the way of severe weather at this time, but wouldn't be surprised to hear a rumble of thunder or to see some lightning out across portions of the area. Our threat for severe weather, we do have some, but it's minimal, and we'll talk about that coming up here in just a little while. We've got more potential for showers and thunderstorms they're very haphazard for right now across much of the area, from the Outer Banks through the Appalachians into Middle Tennessee, down into the Mississippi Delta. That is where we're seeing the worst of the worst potential for rainfall, and more activity like this will be a possibility into the course of the next couple of days. Now, the biggest weather news of the day, no heat advisories, no severe weather, but what we do have, if you take a look around the area where the pointer is located, Grundy County, Tennessee, in the News 12 viewing area, right along and on the north side of I-24, that is where we've got a flood watch in effect. That right now is the only county in the News 12 viewing area to be listed under this flood watch. The worst potential for flooding will be expected in Middle Tennessee, back into northwestern Tennessee and beyond, southeast Missouri, northeast Arkansas, Illinois, Indiana, and much of the state of Kentucky. That is issued in advance of the possibility of heavier rain leading to flash flooding. And if you take a look at what we're expecting in the course of the next week or so, from the News 12 viewing area all the way back up to about I-70 in St. Louis, we may be looking at about maybe 4 to 5 inches of rainfall scattered across portions of the area here. So that is where we're expecting the lion's share of what we're getting in the way of rainfall into the next couple of days. So that is where we could see the dangerous conditions out across the area. Keep it tuned. Again, we'll have more details on that as we go along. For the rest of the day and into tonight, our leftover front dropping down to the south and to the east, and then our next front moving this direction. That's going to be moving into this moisture-rich air across much of the southeast United States. That is going to be where the fuel for these thunderstorms come from. This up here will be the trigger for more activity getting into the next several days. So outdoor activities, you're really going to have to plan ahead, especially as the chances of rain really start to ramp up in the course of the next several days. Low temperatures tonight back into around northeast Alabama. You'll be back into the mid to high 60s to the low 70s. Blue Ridge, Appalachians into northwest Georgia, high 60s to around the lower 70s. Back across portions of western North Carolina, could see some mid to lower 60s taking place, so some of those higher elevations could get a little bit on the cooler side. But southeast Tennessee, not going to be seeing much of any hope for that, so numbers not getting too well below the high 60s. And don't forget, again, there is going to be the possibility of fog taking place, so that could be a problem for early morning travelers. Now, big update on the tropics. There's really nothing going on, but this is very important to take a look at. For right now, there's tons of dust coming in from off the Sahara Desert, across the Atlantic, and all the way down into the Caribbean and the Gulf. That extra dust is filtering out the sunlight, so that's doing a good job of kind of slowing down or stopping any tropical storm development. So the National Hurricane Center is not showing a threat of anything developing in the next few days. Into the Pacific, we've got 1, 2, 3 systems lined up from Central America all the way past just to the south of the Hawaiian Islands in the yellow circle there. All of these don't have spectacular chances of development, but there are some chances of development depending on how things go on. There's a lot of northerly winds coming in from off the west coast that could be escorting in some slightly drier air, and that might be holding these storm systems at bay by just a little bit. Either way, again, at this time of the year, if you're heading to western Mexico or the U.S. West Coast or Hawaii, I would be watching this area quite carefully to see what exactly might be happening. Again, you don't want to be heading into an area you're just going to have to head right back out of again. Most of these are fish storms. They're just storms that are going to be over the ocean and not bothering anybody but the fish. That's why they call it a fish storm. Now, that's again what's going on immediately in the tropics. And that last one was from the Atlantic. This just came out today, the latest update from Colorado State's Tropical Meteorology Program. They run an incredible ship here. One of the climatologists, meteorologist Philip Klotzbach, helps with this, And the links to all this you can find at tropical.colostate.edu if you'd like to check this information out for yourself. This is the really good news that we have on here. Again, these are forecasts issued before, during, and midway, just about that area through the season to see what's going on. If you take a look around the area of here with the parentheses, those are the averages over about a 30-year period from what we can expect from named storms, storms that actually get strong enough to get a name, that's a tropical storm or higher. Hurricanes, again, storms that go from a tropical storm to at least a Category 1 hurricane, and then major hurricanes, that's Category 3 and above. That is the strongest hurricanes, what are called major hurricanes taking place. 30-year average, about 14 storms form. Of those, 7 just over hurricanes, and of those, just over 3 become major hurricanes. Now, it was expected to be a little bit more active in 2025, and then the 2026 forecast, which came out on April the 9th, was calling for just below average from the 30-year average here to 2026. Today, Colorado State Tropical Meteorology issued their July 8th update, and the numbers here are kind of staggering in their own way because, again, this is what we see on average. This is what we are now expecting according to Colorado State. NOAA hasn't issued their forecast yet, so we'll see what they say on here, but this is well below the 2026 forecast data that we've been seeing here for named storms from 13 to 8, not exactly cut in half, but fairly close. 6 hurricanes in the initial forecast down to 4 just today, and major hurricanes, 2 possibly in 2026 in the season, now down to 1. So that is a major downturn in the effect of which accumulated cyclone energy, this is also something to take a look at, that when the ocean surface accumulates all that extra heat from the sun and from climate change, that extra energy can build and create and strengthen and rapidly intensify numerous storms. So we've seen that before. Otis, second to last season on the west coast of Mexico, went from a tropical storm to a Category 5 in less than a day. That's incredible. And the accumulated energy was expected to be and was above normal for 2025. It was expected to be below normal for the forecast in April, and that has now almost been cut in half. That available energy to help cyclones form, again, cyclones, tropical storms, hurricanes, things like that, in this area of the world, this is a major downturn in the expectation of what we can see this particular year. Now, is this carved in stone? There's, again, no way to see about that until we go through the season and see what happens at the end of the season. We'll have to wait for that to happen. Again, that's coming up on December the 1st. But what is looking like right now, there's a couple things going on here. Number one, we have got a lot of dust coming in from Africa, and that dust is, again, filtering out the sunlight. This dust is able to make its way over the Atlantic, the Caribbean, and the Gulf, making its way up and into the southeast United States. So that may color our sunsets. If it gets thick enough in some locations, those of you with emphysema, asthma, physical lung ailments might see some more problems like you would when it is a little bit more in the way of, say, polluted, smoggy type situation. This is helping to downturn the potential out there for any hurricanes thanks to the dust filtering out the sunlight. But again, it's down here that we are watching for that mega El Nino to form, the warming of the East Pacific tropical waters, which again causes dry air to go someplace it normally wouldn't, which causes the moisture to scoot around from one side of the ocean to the other. So this area right in here, just off of South America into the mid-Pacific, this area here known as Region 3.4, this is where it is affecting weather across almost an entire hemisphere. This Southern Oscillation, as it's known, El Nino Southern Oscillation, or ENSO, this is, again, where we're going to see the biggest changes taking place. And because this El Nino is happening right here, that is expected, according to what you just saw with the forecast from Colorado State, the warmer waters here will cause less in the way of tropical storms to form here. It's all part of living in a terrarium in space. This is the way our air circulates. This is the way the heat gets distributed by the atmosphere and the ocean. And this is what we're looking at into the next several weeks. There are also signs, and I don't have the graphic lined up here, but it looks like somewhere toward about the last few months of the year, October, November, December, somewhere in there, it's possible that we may see a very warm and wet winter season shaping up for the northern Gulf. So anything between the Keys and Brownsville and north of that line, we might be looking for some much warmer and possibly wetter conditions as we head into around Thanksgiving and the end of the year holidays there. So that could be a bit of a situation that we need to watch out for. Island Cove Marina and Resort on the EPB Fiber Optics WeatherCam Network page, which you can get to by going to our website, WDEF.com/weather, to check out more things there. Again, over the next few days, we'll be seeing the uptick in the possibility of showers and thunderstorms right into the weekend. So outdoor activities, I don't think will be a washout, but it's sure not going to be great for a lot of the time going into the next few days. Friday, there is that marginal threat of severe weather. That is something that we really need to be paying attention to. Again, it doesn't look like a huge threat. That's a 1 out of 5 marginal threat, but there is the potential of some damaging winds from those storms. And of course, we've got the possibility of very heavy rainfall coming up. We'll be watching again, see what goes on. Now, here's some of the good news. Last week we were in the broiler. This week, thanks to the clouds and the rainfall, numbers will be at to below normal on both the highs and the low temperatures. So much more comfortable than what it was last week. Hopefully your air conditioning gets a little bit of a break, but it is still going to be quite warm and humid out there. Flash of lightning off in the distance, so it looks like those storms are not quite as dormant as they used to be, picking up a little bit more lightning out there for now, and maybe the potential of more of that activity throughout the course of the rest of the evening. So stay tuned for more on that. Our weather question of the day. If you didn't have a chance to tune in earlier tonight, you can find out more of our polls at WDEF.com/vote now. Lightning Safety Week was last week, but it's had a lot of questions left over, didn't want to let them go to waste. So the average temperature of a lightning bolt in degrees Fahrenheit, 7,500, 15,000, 50,000, or 100,000 degrees. Well, everybody was in a three-way tie for the answers here, but the actual answer is 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the average temperature of a lightning bolt. The temperature of the surface of the sun is about 10,000 degrees. So a lightning bolt's temperature, briefly for a split second, is hotter than the surface of the sun. Add to that, let me see if I can get one of these left over. I guess, well, close enough anyway. If you have a pen or a pencil, you hold that up, or just hold up your pinky finger, and that right there, average pencil, average pinky finger, that's about how wide around one of the lightning bolt is. It looks like it's a lot thicker, like maybe a tree trunk of some sort, but actually it is barely bigger than this. So that's kind of neat to know. A little bit more lightning trivia there for you. If you'd like to vote in our polls, news, weather, sports, let's chat. Again, please go to our website at WDEF.com/vote now. Thanks to Williams Plumbing Services for being our sponsor for the weather poll. Glad to have you along there for that. Next couple of days, again, we're just not seeing too much to worry about in the way of huge amounts of problems out there, but definitely time to be weather aware. Chip Chapman will have more on the forecast for you coming up bright and early on Thursday morning. That starts at 5 a.m. Eastern time, so tune in for an update on rain, thunder, fog, everything else taking place. And hopefully stays quiet. No severe weather tomorrow, at least that's the way it looks right now, but that could change, so we will definitely be watching that with a lot of interest. Thanks again to News 12 sponsor Epikos Comics, Cards, and Games. Appreciate you being the sponsor here on Weather Overtime, and appreciate everybody here for tuning in on Twitch, YouTube, and also on Facebook. Glad to have you along for the ride. Thanks to everybody for checking in. We've been on for about 25 minutes. That's pretty good for us for a typical evening. If you have questions about what's going on, you can find me on all those social media pages that you see on screen, or again on our social media pages down below, Twitch, Facebook, and also on YouTube. So stay tuned again for more. We'll keep you updated on all the forecast and have more details as well with News 12's Chip Chapman early in the morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. This has been the Peak of the Week Wednesday edition of News 12 video weather blog, Weather Overtime. We'll keep you advised on air and online, and we'll talk to you again coming up on Thursday evening. Thanks for joining us.